Hello and welcome to A Car is Born. Now, I don't know about you, but ever since I've been a kid, I've always been interested in cars. In fact, the very first car I worked on was an old Mini Traveller. Its registration was CNX4B. I'll never forget it, I've still got the number plate. I took that car to pieces when I was 10, and I never ever worked out how to put it back together again. Since those early experimental days, I've owned a whole variety of cars, from a Triumph Herald convertible through a couple of Minis, a Mark III Spitfire, a Golf GTI, and even an Escort van, which was my favourite, I have to say. I've tinkered on them all doing running repairs, but I've always dreamt of building one from scratch. Kit cars have come a very long way in the last 10 years, and I've decided that now is as good a time as any to bite the bullet. So I've come to the Great Western Kit Car Show in Exeter to choose which kit I'm going to buy, and over this series you're going to see me build it. Now, I quite like this Aston Martin. See, kit cars, I told you, you want one, don't you?
I would advise anybody who's actually going to build or contemplating building a kit, you must go to the shows. There's 8 or 9 right out throughout the country, and most of them carry about 50 manufacturers. Poke around, talk to people, get your prices, and understand just what's involved in building a kit. It's not difficult, but you do need to have a look round.
Just look around you, there are literally hundreds of cars to choose from here. It's a bit of a minefield, I have to say. But I've got Martin Foster, who's the editor of Kit Car magazine. You are my guide, Martin. I am relying on you.
I'll do my best.
What sort of things should I be thinking about? You know, what questions should I be asking myself and the manufacturers here about these kits?
Well, I think the most important thing you've already started to do, which is to do some research.
Right.
To think carefully about what you want, to look about, decide what your requirements are, look around the market and see which cars fulfil those requirements.
OK, I mean, I know that I want a car that's a third car for me. I know it wants to be a car that looks great, is fun to drive, it's got to be open top.
Right.
Because it's a fun car for me. It's not going to be something I'm going to go shopping in.
Sure. Your first consideration is going to be cost. That's everybody's first consideration. I mean, it's no point finding a car, it's the car of your dreams, you can't afford it.
How much does it vary from what to what?
Well, the very cheapest cars could be put on the road for a matter of a couple of £1,000s.
Oh, I'm not skinflint, you know. I'll come up with a bit more dosh than that.
Well, you wouldn't come up with enough to afford the more expensive, the top end of the market, which could be £40,000 or £50,000.
You're kidding, really?
No, really, yeah. I mean, for that sort of money, you're building a very accurate replica of a classic car.
Right.
And you're using a lot of very expensive components.
OK, so
but that is the fringe.
I'm going to be middle ground then, because I've
Yeah.
got 10 grand, basically. And in terms of my expertise, I've tinkered with cars to repair them because I've had to, because I couldn't afford to pay somebody else to do it.
Right.
But I've never built a car. I mean, some of these, these kind of things, look at this. I mean, this looks incredibly complicated to build this. I couldn't possibly build a car like that, could I?
Well, yes, actually, because these cars are actually based on a Volkswagen chassis, and they're Volkswagen powered, so it's not as difficult to build as it might appear.
So even for a first-timer, I could potentially tackle quite a complex car?
With help and support. I think what is important is there are a lot of kit car companies. There are over 200 kit car companies in the market. So you've got a lot to choose from. They obviously vary in how much support they give, how much advice they give. So when you first go to visit them, I think it's quite important that you tell them that you're a first-time buyer, you tell them the sort of level of knowledge you have, and you ensure that if you do come across problems, they will be there to back you up. A lot of the companies have a helpline, so you can phone them, you know, I'm trying to fit bracket A to bolt B and it won't. What am I doing wrong? And they'll give you that sort of backup.
Do a lot of people, though, bite off more than they can chew? That they love the look of the car or whatever, and they go, yeah, oh, I want that car, and then end up with a pile of bits in their garage for 30 years because they kind of got halfway through it and decided, I can't do this.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what happens. In the back of our magazine, you'll find that there are a number of advertisements in there for uncompleted projects. And that's usually because people haven't done their groundwork first. They haven't done their research. So, yes, it is important. I mean, it's important that you love the car, that it's a car you want to build. But, you know, there is a danger of just falling in love with something, exactly as you say. and buying it with your heart rather than your head.
What's the most popular kind of car that is built as a kit car then?
Well, this car we see here on the Westfield stand, these constitute the largest part of the market, and it's a growing sector.
Right, so the kind of two-seater, open-top, kind of sporty
clubman
racing.
sports car. That's right. It's a car which is relatively easy to build. It's a real driver's car. So there are some cars which are more pose than go, if you like, more show than go. Something like this is a real driver's car.
I've raced one of those once, and they are exciting. Yes,
they are. They are.
I'd never take one on the road though. I'd be lethal.
Well, I mean, the nickname they've had is the four-wheel motorcycle, and you know that's probably a good description. And they are immense fun to drive. Another big part of the market is this Cobra replica we see here.
Right.
This is a car which is very popular among classic fans and
it's a beautiful car.
People who actually don't know a lot about classic cars will see something like that and recognise it. You know, it's that shape.
One of my biggest worries is putting all the 10 grand of my hard-earned dosh into this car, endless amount of time. And I drive the car down the road, and there's still that stigma about a kit car, and people are going, look, kit car,
yeah,
it's not real.
It.
Is that still true?
It's not, no. The quality of the kits has improved, the standard of engineering has improved, the level of customer awareness has improved. They know now that the average punter out there is much more informed, they know which questions to ask, they know what information they need, and the companies are supplying it because they don't make a sale otherwise.
So the kind of classic car enthusiasts, the more purist people, are now starting to look at kit cars and go, hang on, actually, this is quite a tribute to the original car.
It is, yeah, yeah. The barriers are breaking down. One of the manufacturers, or a few manufacturers who are here today, took cars up to the Classic Car Show at the NEC recently, and they received no negative comments at all, and there was a lot of interest. So those barriers are breaking down. I think people realise now that the top end of the classic car market is just untouchable financially, and the only way you can get something which does pay tribute to those classic marks is to build a replica. It would never be sold as an original, so there's no sort of legal problems in that respect, and you get a taste of the classic car market at a price you can afford.
So if I was going to build one, you've driven all these cars, what would you recommend as being a car that I, as somebody who's got a bit of experience, not that much, I've only got 15 half hours in which to build it.
Right.
I've got a budget of 10. I've got a budget of 10 grand. What would you recommend that I build?
I would say, well, we haven't spoken a lot about which cars actually excite you and which
very, very powerful ones with huge engines that look fantastic, and people go, yes, I love that car.
He is so cool to be driving that car.
That's what I want.
And he's built it. Yeah,
that's exactly what I want.
Right, yeah. I would suggest that you look at the Cobra market, the Cobra replicas.
Right.
It's a huge market, there's lots of choice. A lot of the companies are very established and will be able to give you a lot of backup and a lot of help and a lot of support. That would be a good place to start, I would suggest.
And if you play your cards right, I might let you even drive it when I've built it.
I look forward to it.
So, where do I start? Too yellow. Nah, too much ventilation, and I'd quite like an engine. Nah, 2 grand. Home, James. Nah, too old, and the car's not so young either. Too big! Now this is absolutely gorgeous, but too much dosh. Rob, convince me that I should buy a race car kit like this one rather than a replica like that.
Well, this complete car, including the engine, weighs 400 kilos. This is the first Westfield with a Fireblade engine.
That's a motorbike?
A motorcycle engine.
Awesome.
It does 0 to 60 in about 4.5 seconds. It'll do 130 miles an hour.
Oh, you're starting to convince me.
Push your foot down on the right pedal, change up through the gears with the buttons on the gear, the steering wheel.
Like a Formula 1 car?
Like a Formula 1 car. Don't need to clutch on the way up, just on the way down.
So this is awesomely quick then?
Yeah, it'll rev to 12,000 RPM.
So what you're saying is then, the skids on the road are going to match the skids in my underpants?
Yeah, they'll probably be shorter though.
And where do I put the golf clubs?
And this side?
Well, get out then.
Sorry.
1, 2, 3. No, start again. 1, 2, 3. Now I could really see myself driving this one. No, I don't know. It's a difficult decision because it's not very practical, is it? Join me in part 2 when I promise I will have made a decision. Welcome back to A Car is Born. I'm at the Great Western Kit Car Show to choose which kit I'm actually going to buy, and the decision is made. It has to be a Cobra. I know it's the most common replica kit car in the world, but you can see why, because this is a seriously awesome car. I've got the ability, I think, to build one, and I can certainly do it for my budget. Problem is, will mine look as good as this one? I've set my heart on a Cobra, but now it's the choice of, well, which kit do I actually buy? Because there are quite a lot of them around, aren't there? So what do I do next?
I think probably it's worth asking yourself what you want to use the kit for, what you want to use the car for. Are you interested in building it, or are you interested in actually using it? Do you want a quick build? Is it something that's going to take you quite a while to do? What sort of quality do you want to get out of it in the end?
I'm a vet, so I'm very busy, so I need a car that I can build relatively quickly, but I'm no great mechanic.
It might be worth considering getting one that is quite largely built for you anyway. You know, there are plenty of companies that will produce either a turnkey kit, one that you can drive away, or at various stages of construction that would enable you to get on the road without wasting too much time.
There are a lot of companies, and there seem to be a lot of companies that come and go. Is that a problem in the industry?
I think that's something to look out for. If you look at the companies that were in existence a few years ago, and also look at what sort of business they're doing now, get names perhaps of people who've built kits previously, and then most people in this business, in my experience, are really happy to talk about their cars.
I'm thinking of building a Cobra. Have you got any kind of hints and tips that I should be aware of?
I think that the main thing to do is just do lots of research, and if you don't know how to do anything, there's always somebody that can advise you. All you need to do really is to find out how to do it.
So why did you get into building one in the first place yourself?
I could never afford an original, so I thought I'd build one. And Dax was the one that I went for, and that's the result, basically.
And what was it based on as far as a donor?
Jaguar XJ6. And the rest of it is either Dax kit or bits and pieces that I've either made or scrounged.
Scrounged, I like that idea. So that's what I've got to get used to, doing a bit of scrounging, have I? Kind of, you know. How long did it take?
5 years to build, really, yeah.
5 years?
5 years.
How much time?
I've lost count. I mean, lots and lots and lots of evenings, weekends.
What did your family say?
Well, I've got a very understanding wife.
Need one of those as well, then. I better put that on the list.
That's the most important thing. Yeah.
You're both part of a club, aren't you?
Yes, that's right.
The Cobra Club. What's all that about?
Well, it's more or less getting together, you know, once a month and pass on information to each other on building a car or building a Cobra. You know, it's obviously get problems and help each other out, really.
So there's the process of building where you can get help, but obviously once I've got it built, I want a car that's not just going to sit in the garage, that I can take out and use. What sorts of things could I do with the Cobra Club with my car?
In the past, we've had track days, so if you want to go fast in it legally, then OK, join the club and have a track day. That means, you know, using the car for quite a lot of laps in comparative safety on a approved track. Some people have been to Spain and Italy in the cars as a group, and I mean that's pretty good fun. And certainly the Cobras are always taken down to Le Mans every year. There are several groups who will go down to Le Mans. It's a very classic car, and I think it gets approval from perhaps more people than would people who might turn their nose up at the ordinary car or average kit cars, if you like.
What do they like to drive?
Very variable, I would say. They're very exciting, always exciting. Very variable in handling, though. There are some really good handling ones, and for me that's a very important component. How fast they go, well, speeds go certainly up to the 170, 175 miles an hour, but it takes an awful lot of power to do that.
Amazing. So if I join the Cobra Club first, what do I get with the Cobra Club for joining my membership fee?
Well, you get a very excellent magazine, a 6-issue magazine, full colour. That's quite a good starting point, because most people like browsing through that and looking at the pictures. But also there's the membership list, which would allow you to get in touch with lots of people who've built cars before, who run cars, and you can really find out how to get what you want out of your car. I think that's the main thing. It's a very informal, very friendly club.
Would you ever part with your car now?
No. No way.
Well, I've joined the club, I've got the magazine, I've got the hat, so all I need to do now is buy the car. Well, this is the one I've got my heart set on. I just need to find somebody to talk to about it.
We've been in business 15 years now. We've approached from 1 model down up to 5 now, and we've made about 3,000 cars over the years.
Okay. What's the sort of range then? I mean, I've got 10 grand to spend.
Right.
Can I build one of your cars for 10 grand?
Easily. We range from about 6,000 up to about 16, so you're well in the range to get a nice car.
And what's the basis of the car then I'd build for 10 grand?
It'll be a Sierra donor vehicle with any engine you like, and all the rest of the parts come from us, the trim, the chrome, the glass, everything like that.
I'm very worried about the kind of technical basis of this. I mean, I've done a bit of mechanics, but I'm no expert at all.
The construction manual's excellent anyway, but if you need to phone up, we're on the phone 6.5 days a week, so there's no problem whatsoever. Then you just ring up and we'll guide you through it, or you come down to the factory, take photographs, make notes. So you're not on your own. Once you bought from us, we're still behind you.
And what are there in terms of options for me to choose in terms of the car spec?
You can go for various types of suspension. It could be Jaguar, it could be Granada, it could be Cortina. But most of our sales nowadays, because of the costability of the donor vehicle, are the Sierra base ones. But you can put anything from a 1600 up to a 5.7 Chevrolet engine in it.
So just take me through every individual power unit I could have?
You can go for the whole Ford range, which is obviously the 4 cylinders, the twin cams and the V6s. Rover V8, you can go up to the 5.7 Chevrolet V8s. So there's quite a specification there.
What's that like with a Chevrolet V8 in it?
You want strong neck muscles, because it does accelerate rather fast.
And what about in terms of like the interior trim and the colour of the car and all that kind of stuff?
We've got quite a range from your magnolias to your greys to your blacks, so you can, even though you can just build the car, it's like decorating a room. You pick your own colours, we supply the trim kits and the carpet sets and the hood sets to fit, and the right colours.
Okay, so where do I sign?
Over here, sir.
It's a sale. Before I leave Exeter, I'd better just stock up on some tools. Although I haven't got a lot of money left, it has to be said. Oh, those as well. And knowing my ability at making things fit, I am definitely going to need one of these. What a great show. You know, the thing that will stick with me forever was the people. They were just as enthusiastic about their cars, whether they owned a palace or a shed on wheels, because some of those cars were really naff, it had to be said, but some were absolutely peach. Enough of that, though, because I've got something to show you, and I'm very proud of it. Come in here. Welcome to my workshop. What do you think, eh? And my merry band of helpers. This is Robin, soundman. Over here, we have the catering department, where I've got all my bars of chocolate and my trusty old kettle. This is the TV department over here, run by my friend Peter, director, all our kit down here. And there we go. There is Jeremy, the cameraman. You've met them all. They are my willing volunteers. They will be helping me, won't you, lads?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, let me take you around. I found a picture. Do you like this? This is to give me inspiration. I know that a lot of people have girly calendars on the wall, but I need something that actually is going to make me think, this is what I'm going to end up with. Got all my kit, all my parts. Over here, lots of space, because down here in front of you, where I'm standing, is where this car is going to evolve. Doesn't look much now, but it will do soon. Over here, my workstation. Now, very important that you get all your tools together. You don't need actually that much, which surprised me when I had a look through the manual, but you do need some really important, essential bits of kit. And I kind of borrowed some from people, and I bought some at the show, obviously, but do be prepared to beg for it. Up here, you're going to need hammer. You're going to need a wire brush, good set of spanners, some good tools and mole wrenches, saws to cut through metalwork and all the other bits and pieces like the bodywork and stuff that you're going to have to do. You're going to need obviously the information to build this, and there are really three sources for that. First is a manual for the donor car. In my case it's going to be a Sierra, and that'll tell you how to take the thing to pieces. The construction manual for the Cobra itself, absolutely essential. That'll tell you how to build the new car, and if your answers don't come from either of these two sources, then you very definitely need one of these, a phone, because you can get onto the Cobra Club or a mechanic friend or whatever to get yourself sorted out. Absolutely critical is safety equipment. You're going to need a powder fire extinguisher, and you must know how to use it. Gloves, goggles for protection. You're going to need some metalwork tools, drills, that kind of thing, to cut holes in the bodywork and so on, and also in the chassis. Whole range of kind of screwdrivers and bits and pieces. Most of these are my own. You're going to need a trolley jack. Now, this is something that I borrowed off a friend of mine who's a mechanic, because it is an expensive bit of kit and you're not going to need it for that long. And you'll also need a set of good sturdy axle stands, because you're actually going to build the car on top of these. And last but not least, you're going to need one of these. Now, this is a torque wrench, but frankly, so far I haven't managed to get a conversation out of it. That's a terrible joke, Jeremy. You shouldn't do it, you know. Sorry. So I'm ready as I'm ever going to be, so I better find out what I've got to do first. Oh yeah, make a cup of tea and admire your progress. And then start looking for a donor car. See you next time.